Please go ahead.
Good afternoon to one and all. I'm Munia Kulkarni from AIDEA. Welcome you all for today's session. Today we have a webinar on enabling ecosystem for agri-startups. I welcome all the guest speakers, incubators, applicants for BIRAC BIG, mentors, scientists, and all the ladies and gentlemen for this program. And the objectives are to know about the BIRAC BIG application process, to hear about any queries if anybody has. Also to know more about the enabling ecosystem for the agriculture startups. So we have with us today Dr. Ramji Palela, who is CEO Atal Incubation Center, CCMB, Hyderabad, and Mr. B.V. Narsimham, who is Investment Director, Caspian. Now I request our CEO and Principal Scientist, Dr. Sivaramane to speak about AIDEA and to welcome all of you.
Yeah, thank you, Munia. And first of all, I extend my heartfelt welcome to our speakers of today's web show, Mr. Ravi Narsimham and Mr. Ramji Palela for consenting our request to be a speaker of this session, and you have added a lot of value to the program, and we are looking forward to your speeches. And I would like to welcome all the applicants and also the participants of BIRAC program, and also mentors, advisors, startups. So I welcome all for this show. And first of all, I make a request that, if you have any queries for the speakers, you can put it at the end of the show, and we'll be having more than 15 minutes for discussion. So let me just orient you about what is AIDEA and what is BIRAC BIG, so that we will take the speakers along with. Yeah. Did you see my PowerPoint? Yeah, is it visible? Yeah, I think now it's visible, right?
Yes, it's visible.
Yeah, thank you. I want to tell you something about our incubator that we have at Hyderabad. The name is AIDEA, as popularly called as Agribusiness NAM TBI. So NAM is a National Academy of Agriculture Research Management, which is focused mainly for training scientists and professors in the National Agriculture Research and Education System. It conducts different levels of training, one for the scientist induction programs, and the other one is for at a higher level, executive development programs. So this institute was founded way back in 1974. It is similar to the IAS Academy, where here in this focus to train the scientists and faculty of agriculture research system. And so being the academy, we have a very good network with all the agriculture education institutions, agriculture research institutions, and also the institutions which are associated with the farmers, like Krishi Vigyan Kendra and farmer producer companies. So we have a network of closer to 6,000 plus scientists who are working on various aspects of agriculture. It includes agriculture and allied disciplines like crop sciences, horticulture science, fisheries, forestry, animal sciences, dairy, forestry, sericulture, etc. So all the agriculture and allied disciplines are included in our system. That way, we are a specialized startup incubator, and we are giving hand-holding support to startups which are working in the area of agriculture. Again, agriculture means it's a broader one, including animals also in there. And the strengths of AIDEA is we have excellent networking with the research organizations, which is having sophisticated lab facilities. You name any type of techniques, it can be performed in our laboratories, any one of the laboratories at ICR and agriculture universities. And most important connect that we have with the KVKs, Krishi Vigyan Kendra, where you get the opportunity, incubators get the opportunities to work at the field level and see they test their technology, they could able to co-develop the technology and also field test it. So that opportunity you have, because we have almost 1 kVK per district. So the numbers are now closer to 750, and it is spread throughout the country. So wherever you want to field test your technology, so we have a KVK which can help you. We can able to connect them to you. These are the activities. We are broad spectrum in the sense we provide different types of services or activities that we are performing. One is sensitization programs. We sensitize faculties, we sensitize scientists, researchers, we sensitize students to take up tasks related to agriculture, and we orient them entrepreneurship, startup, and how to get into that. So we run various type of sensitization programs that includes 1 day workshop to 5 days intensive training program. So we run closer to around 30 plus programs every year. And the other major activities that we do is incubation. Presently, we have given a call that's Krishi Boot, where we get applications from the early stage startups, and we train them. And once they are successful, we help them with the seed fund support. And the next major program is acceleration. So ours is the first institute to launch a dedicated accelerator for agri-startups. So you might have heard the term Agri-Udaan. So that is our flagship program, and now fourth call is going on. So we are going to finalize that shortly. And the last but most important thing is that we do various type of seed investments ourselves. We have investment in closer to 10 companies, and recently we had one successful exit. We exited our investment from Agnist. You might have seen in the recent newspaper in Economic Times that we exited with 5x of the amount that we have invested. So our money has grown 5 times in less than 4 years. So that was one of the success story that we had recently, and hopefully in the future, most of our startups where we have invested with funds will also show promising growth. And achievements so far, we have conducted several sensitization workshops and ideation programs. We have done several programs, incubations also. Now we have closer to 100 incubators, okay, in our system, who are working dedicatedly in agricultural problems. And also acceleration, we have 28 startups selected through various cohorts, and most of them are funded now. And investments, we have now 9 successful investments, and 1 we already exited. And regarding the BIRAC Big 19th call, so I think you might have seen this poster, which talks about the strengths of this big program. It is launched at a national level. They are scouting for very promising ideas in all spheres, and one of them is agriculture. So this is basically biotechnology ignition grant. So all biotechnology applied areas and also some specialized areas like agri-tech are being supported in this grant. One important thing one should note that they are not supporting pure startups, pure technology or software-based startups, right? So they want something product to come out in terms of physical unit, like they expect something hardware or some product or services sort of things to come out of this project. So let us see the details, but remember the last date for application is 15th September. And the purpose of BIRAC is to scout for ideas which has a clear commercial interest, and it has a clear means of having the technology, clear idea which has some scientific basis, and they support such ideas, and the grant can be up to the extent of 50 lakhs. So if they if someone has a proof of concept and has a timeline of 1 year to 1.5 years, then this grant suits them. And here remember that it should be commercially viable technology which is being supported, and not any basic work. So that's very important. And these are the disciplines where we are supporting startups who are working in who are working with the big grant. And there are 8 centers, partners of BIRAC. and ours is one of them. AIDIA is one of them. And if you are interested to apply for agri-related domains, then you can get support from us. Who are all eligible? Startups or entrepreneurs who are already in the startup business less than 5 years of incorporations, they are eligible. And second one is researcher also eligible. Researchers, scientists working in institution, labs, they are also eligible to apply. Students also eligible to apply. If any PhD students has very good, patent or technology, and which can be converted to a commercial product or services, so that's also eligible. And any individuals having a good idea, innovative idea, and as a POC stage, that is technology level 3, if they are of that type, it is being supported here. And let me show you, this is the different areas that BIRAC supports. One is device and diagnostics, drug discovery, agriculture, industrial biotechnology, biosimilar stem cells, vaccines, and bioinformatics, waste management, and environmental related sciences. So our institute is supporting the domain which is falling under agriculture, industrial biotechnology, waste management, sanitation, clean energy. So this is the focus area of our incubator support. If anybody needs such services, they can come to us. And not limiting to that, they are helping in the field of artificial intelligence, Internet of things. Remember that, but they don't support pure software. Okay, so if you are coming with some product at the end, then definitely it can be supported through BIRAC. And what is not supported, again, I would like to reiterate, a basic or exploratory type of work, so will not be supported. Naturally, startups with low level of novelty will not be supported. And a project involving systematic clinical trials, field trials, it's a pure research sort of things are not supported here. So it should not be treated as a research grant or research fellowship to pursue the research work. It should have a commercial interest, basically. And who can apply? So let's take up in question and answer sessions. So remember that individuals can apply, company can apply, and if company is applying, see that the individuals who are all partners or equity owners in that should cross at least 51%. Indian equity should be more than 51% in that company. Okay, so it's mandatory to have incubator support when you are applying for BIRAC. So you have to take LOI from them to apply. So any one of the 8 partner institutions, then only you are eligible to apply for it. Okay, incubation support is mandatory. Okay, if somebody is already employed in any other companies, so it's mandatory for them to resign the job, and then then only they can pursue this grant. Okay, once you are selected for the grant, it's mandatory the person has to resign. If he is a promoter of a company, he cannot apply as individual. Again, he has to apply as a company. That's LLPs are eligible to apply. Okay, so now there is a new introduction of royalty grant. So it is expected that once your business runs on commercial lines, you will be paying 5% of the net sales, which will be to the extent of covering the grants that is provided. Okay, that's a royalty class recently introduced, right? So other things, one thing, most important thing is that in the selection process, there are 3 levels. Okay, so first one is the eligibility check, where they'll see that, whether somebody is eligible or not, whether it is the second stage, whether it is scheme fit, whether it falls under any one of the listed schemes of BIRAC BIG. And third is technical evaluation, where it is sent to about 5 evaluators to see whether it is technically sound or not, whether it is commercially viable or not. Okay, after that, there is a technical expert panel presentation is there. So they will be making pitch deck presentations. And once it is through that panel, then once, they will be selecting the top ones based on some cutoff. And then finally, the selected names will be communicated to them. This is the selection process. Basically, you just remember 3 steps. First step is preliminary level at, eligible person are taken, and then second stage, you have online review where technical review is done. And third round is pitch presentation round. These are 3 important rounds in the selection process. So normally the time, line is 2 months after the last date of application. Now the last date of application is 15th September. So we expect that, by 15th November, it will be, the finalist will be communicated. So the other things we'll take up in question and answer session. Okay. So, right. So for applications, you can go to the BIRAC portal. It's mentioned here. You can see that www.birac.nic.in. There you have to go for registration. So, okay. So you can register as an individual or company, and then you can apply for the 19th call. Okay. So this is what we will take up, if you have any questions, after the speakers complete their presentations. Thank you very much. And Monia, back to you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
I think you have more than 2 systems there in the lab. So you can put one in mute.
Yes, sir.
Yes, speaker. Yeah, right.
Now is it audible?
Yeah, now it's fine. Yes.
Thank you, sir, for enlightening us with the BIG process and also giving us knowledge about AIDEA. So now I request our speakers. Now, firstly, I would like to invite Dr. Ramji Palela, who is a COO from at Turtle Incubation Center, CCMB, Hyderabad. He has done his PhD from Indian Institute of Chemical Technology, Hyderabad. He was a postdoctoral fellow from Pyongyang National University, also Busan National University. He served as a research scientist at International Center for Genetic Engineering and Biotechnology. He was a chief manager at IKP Knowledge Park, Hyderabad. And now he's currently working as a CEO at AIC CCMB Hyderabad. And today he will be sharing with us his expert opinion on effective pitch for winning grants. Sir, I would request you to please enlighten us on the topic, effective pitch for winning grants. Over to you, sir.
Thanks, Monia, and sir, for inviting me here. But yeah, the topic, the title here, what you are seeing may be different, but yes, multiple of grants people are attempting, but maybe with the same pitch from their pitch actually. So I'm trying to tell, show slides related to some of the grants. Then I'll be talking on the basic aspects of what is that really need to stress when you're actually pitching something or highlighting something in your applications. In fact, most of the audience maybe wannabe entrepreneurs, or maybe some of them are startups already or incubators already. So when people are pitching the grants, okay, when they're writing proposals, I think they need to do a lot of exercise, what exactly the investor is looking for, what exactly the funding agency, funding agency may be looking best proposals to get funded, but ultimately the reviewers who are reviewing them are the key key stakeholders, where they'll be giving valid points on your presentation or the deck. So I don't have proper, kind of pitch. This slide should be this, and this is the flow, etc. Actually, the topic says that way, but I kind of, giving some of the points, important points related to big grant by covering most of the funding opportunities that we have in India. So I think any entrepreneur, the idea is brilliant. We all have ideas, the wild ideas. We execute boldly and persistently. That's where the intersection comes into play. That's called the decision making. Ultimately, when you're trying to put it like that. So this slide says, many people, maybe from academic backgrounds as well, they love their science, the idea. No, I think this is brilliant, excellent opportunity. Someone may be taking, maybe. So this is where you need to do a lot of exercise. So next 2 to 3 slides, what I'm going to tell you is that the legwork any entrepreneur or any innovator need to do. Even students, they are very excited. Their energy can't be matching with us in the sense, they have fantastic ideas and having their own family problems or societal problems they try to address, but they don't do exercises at the initial level. So in that sense, you need to understand whether an idea is really having some potentiality of making some numbers in the sense of money. So again, timelines are very important, and how do you actually make that particular product or a kind of device or any kit or anything that whatever you say. So where do you want to do that, and how do you scale it further, and locally what is the demand, globally how about this, and you have something in your laboratory or maybe in your startup center where you would like to develop something, but that may not be able to convince the industries or customers. So you have to do all these exercises. So science part is or idea part is about 25% or 30 max, but rest of the things are really crucial to mention your pitch decks or proposals. So I think approximate numbers, range of the COGS, cost of goods for sale, or BOM in other terms, bill of materials. So these try to exercise on these jargons where how much of the X that you may be targeting as your the price of it, for example. So is it 2x, 3x, 4x, 5x? So very important to mention these approximate numbers of what you want to sell. Okay, please try to exercise on these things. And in that sense, we have the funding things and all, but ultimately, these are the points majorly someone need to mention. And remember, always in a proposal, if you are actually in a big proposal, for example, altogether it is about 10 to 12 pages, right? Including budgetary things and everything. So try to mention everything, each and every parameter so crisp way. I think one bullet point can tell 100 things. At the same time, one sentence can actually cover another 1,000 things. So how best way you are actually articulating the pain point? Don't write so many things about the statistics, okay, of the cancer, TB. That is actually well known. It's a, what you can say, WhatsApp era or maybe social media era or Google or internet is so revolutionary. So even reviewer want to find something, just quickly there itself we can find some information, but tell about problem a very crisper way. So the pain point or the particular background, whatever you say, and target customer. I mean, basically these are all, I don't think that I'm giving some Gyan kind of thing, but my point here about this slide is that try to have a fantastic flow of your story when you're conveying the message to whoever is listening in your home, maybe your friends or family members, or they have to get convinced, right? Yeah, I think for the sake of your relationship, your friends and family members may be saying, yeah, I think that's good. That's a kind of motivation and encouragement that you might have got. But ultimately, when someone is trying to put money, they have to get convinced more efficient, I mean, appropriately, in the sense your message should be conveyed such a way. So landscapes are to be exercised. The point I'm trying to tell about the feasibility studies and validation, where in your pitch deck, if you want to tell something, background exercises you need to do, like the way IP landscape, market landscape, competitors landscape, and regulatory landscape. Even in the agriculture sector or in any such kind of technologies, what are the other regulatory? I mean, for example, drones. About 4 or 5 years, so probably we are trying, and even idea kind of incubators are having a couple of startups working on the UAV data and any remote sensing data to map the crops. Okay, whether they are healthy or infested with some pest. So that kind of data generation drones are very much important. So up to 200 meters, the regulatory regulatory agency is allowing. But ultimately, spraying of the pesticides earlier, okay kinds of situation, but considering the non-targeted species, they may be affected with the pesticides because drone has to spray in such a meticulous way to that exact areas, right? So again, now new regulation came for the spraying of pesticides and all. So you please try to understand what kind of so that's what regulatory landscape. So price point you may not be accurate but approximates, and try to do some background exercise again. So don't jump into the context immediately, but do the exercises and come back and refine your flow of presenting the case, and have some 6 to 7 slides. That's it. Your story will be well conveyed. In case if the template is given by funding agency, or maybe the investors generally, they may not be sharing the templates, but there are so many beautiful templates available online as well, and you need to make the story such a way, right? So different funding agencies in India, I think 3 to 4 years, I think a lot of money has been pumped in, and please go through these kind of funding agencies where you can approach relevant grants for you, idea to POC, or even students, for example, student innovators can get actually GYTI, Young Innovator Fellowships or grants like that, and under 35 years of age, SPOSH Fellowship by BIRAC, and addressing some socially relevant technologies, right? Aging and healthcare, agri-tech, or waste to value, etc. Again, more than 50 lakhs. Again, TDB funding is there. BIRACs, BIPP, CIPRI kind of thing. So starting from your ideation to commercialization, I think we are well, supported with all the grants and funds. So try to actually follow their pages and try to look their websites and all, right? So this is the exercise everybody need to do. Okay, demand. There are several questions. I'm not going to read everything, but you need to understand. I mean, someone is trying to talk about their device or technology, they straight away jump into the solution. If you want to develop something, no, first go to the problem statement. If you want to address some area in the agriculture sector, you need to actually identify maybe 30, 40 or minimum kind of, problem statements. Then you can come to the solution, 3, 4 ways of solutions. That can be better than the market segment by targeting or by actually providing that solution to the. Am I audible? Sorry, my internet is a bit. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
You
it is audible now. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Monia, how much time I have? Another 5 minutes or so?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So please do these kind of exercise, and yeah, our experience as well as current day scenario, teams are rather than
You are
technologies.
losing your voice.
So if you have a brilliant team, I'm sorry, there is a kind of.
You can switch off your video and speak.
Oh yeah, that I'll try.
Yeah. Yes.
Just a second. Sir, am I audible now?
Yes, yes, you are audible. Yes.
Yeah. Otherwise, please let me know. So I think teams are the key. Most of the funding that happened with the multi-diverse team, with more energetic teams actually, and commitment is important, reliability. So I think that is also one of the key factors of pitching, and look for the kind of resources that you have. What kind of resources? Whether I'm okay for next 1 year or 2 years, and what's next? So all these things are to be questioned and you have to actually exercise. And yeah, ultimately, how do you tackle the risks, and how do you actually execute such kind of risk management and risk mitigation, etc. So please try to do that kind of exercises. Quickly to say 2-3 points about grants, unique programs and all. 50 lakhs grants are coming, and AICs and EICs, some kind of acceleration funds, or maybe seed funds that we are giving. Even school student innovators are also getting supported through different grants. This is a kind of one slide capture for all of you. Which level are you? According to that, you need to target that relevant grant. And for example, VCs are there. Even I think, someone from, the speaker is from the Caspian. They won't come even at the kind of million or kind of 2 million kind of investment. I'm not sure because uh, 4 million, 5 million later, they will be coming. Because we have one case where they supported our startup when I was at IKP. So, I mean, you need to understand, where to approach, when to approach, depending on your technological level. I think that's very important. But you have every kind of funding opportunities around you, and then only VCs or angels also can look at your technology. So please try to understand that you have to assess yourself. Where are you? Which stage are you? And what are the things that I can focus? So that should be very clear in your proposals as well as in the pitch, right? So these are all different fellowships. So BIRAC website, anyway, I think you are looking and you're following the call dates and everything. 1 second. Big Sur is mentioned already. Yeah, another non-technology, 2-3 examples I'm going to tell. This is again big supported innovator, just like a student making a dissertation in his laboratory. And when we are just passing through the corridors, I just asked, what are you doing? Then he voice-based prosthetic hand. Okay. So then 3 function and 6 function prosthetic hand. I told, why can't you apply for a grant? There is a BIRAC big grant and all. So they pitched it, and first time they could able to crack it. So, I mean, the case has been addressed very well. And, human voice, the specific voice-based recognition. So I think the committee got convinced. So please try to remember all those things. Again, this is also another project. Mosquito repellents impregnate in the military uniforms or that kind of fabric. So military people generally, uh, they may not be washing regularly, but otherwise also, I mean, there is a lot of gap. They may be in the forest areas or outskirts. So mosquitoes may be there in the open field. So if this kind of material is impregnated, so mosquitoes can't come near to that particular soldier, so that they'll be protected from the different diseases. So there is a attachment, there is a value that bringing to the adding to the nation, right? And there is a technology and there is a team, because advisors are commercial partners. They're already having supplied certain tents and tent houses to a DRDO. So the story is well communicated. The pitch is perfect, pitch perfect. And they got funding for the first attempt itself. So again, green pyramid, considering the agricultural solutions. How do you increase the shelf life of vegetables and fruits? So I think some kind of nano formulations that they develop, organic formulations, then when you actually use it for the benefit of increasing shelf life from 7 days to 10 days. Yeah. So this is again students and scientists at NCL, they could able to get this grant quickly from BIG and other sources. Even TAI also invested. So module innovations, again, biosensor based nanofibers platform to identify or sense E. coli strains and all. So this is, they got big grant and they now scaled up. So I think a lot of other technologies, gel-rich membrane, where normal oxygen in the air can be enriched to 35%, which can be used in the hospitals. Like we have oxygen scarcity in hospitals. So small compressor that can actually help accelerating or enriching the oxygen here. So these are all big grantees. So I'm trying to actually tell you what is that emotion attached or problem statement attached, and convince the case right way. So yeah, I think I'm not going to tell anything about the other opportunities because other speaker is also there. But please try to visit AIC CCMB website, or even physically you can come here. We can guide you how to refine your proposals. That's where the collaboration between IDEA and AIC CCMB, we actually nurture a lot of people. Even when I am reviewing the proposals personally, I kind of push the applicants to the next level, at least, because eye-to-eye contact is very important, where only presentation time you can see the investors or the panel members, and you can actually address your answers, but address their questions. But in the proposal, I think you have to be very careful. It's almost like you're touching the heart of the reviewer. So that way you please try to write your proposal in such a way. So I think I'm just stopping here. Maybe I'm happy to take any other questions. Maybe meanwhile, other speaker can. Yeah. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Sir Mustafa here. I have
Can we
First,
have all the questions at the
just a
end
minute.
of the
We
session?
will reserve the questions. Okay.
Yeah. At
And
the end, we can take the questions. Yeah. Please
yeah.
note down the questions, please. Thanks.
Yes, yes. You can put it in the chat. We'll take it one by one. Yeah. Thank you,
Okay,
Ramji. Yeah. In fact, we would like to reiterate that, while you are submitting the proposal, it's always good that you show the proposals to mentors, you show it to incubators and get it, improved. So it should go to the next level, then the chance of winning will be higher. Yeah, thank you very much, Ramji. Yes. Yeah,
Thank you,
Monica.
sir.
Yes.
Yes, thank you, sir, for your talk. It was definitely knowledgeable, and the examples that you gave of BIG grantees, I guess that would give a lot of motivation to the new applicants for the BIG call. And it was really full of knowledge of having like how many slides it should be and how to create that story, and it should be heart touching. Thank you so much, sir. It was really helpful. It
It's my
definitely
pleasure.
would be helpful.
It's my pleasure, Monia.
Thank you, sir. Now we would like to have another session with Mr. B.B. Narsimham, who has he has done his MBA from Xavier Institute of Management, Bhubaneswar. He has been engaged with financial inclusion and livelihoods promotion since beginning of his professional career. Most of his professional career spanned across retail finance, wholesale finance, and equity investments. He's currently working as an investment director at Caspian. And today he will be speaking on the topic Investors' Perspective on Startup Sustainability. We are very eager to hear you, sir. Over to you.
Sir, we request you to adjust your camera, sir. We could not see you in full.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, my setup is a bit informal, so that's an intentional way of. So apologies for that. Thank you, Dr. Sivaramane, for having me. Good afternoon, Mr. Ramji and Monia. Thanks for having me again once again. So Monia, in the meanwhile, if you can just help me, host the session. I have a small presentation. I would like to project it. But before, maybe I start that, friends, I just, the topic given to me is basically, the investor's perspective on startup sustainability. So basically, I'm going to maybe touch upon sustainability because that's a word which is kind of abused, or it's like a cliche, and we've been using it for quite some time. And how important is it in the current context, both for the investors as well as for the startups? So that's something I would like to touch upon. And how the sustainable investments market is growing globally. I'm just going to give brief data also in India. And then we as basically startup investors, what are the things we generally look at? So these are all going to be at a very bird's eye view level, given the paucity of time. So I basically would like to have more questions. It's like maybe an interactive kind of a session, because my presentation would be very brief. So Monia, can I present my?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, can you see my slide?
Yes, it is visible.
Okay, so if it's running into very monologue, please stop me. This is like as I said, let's not make it into a lecture session. What I am doing is basically it's a preamble for a practical kind of process that you all will be getting into. So generally, in fact, when I started my career almost about 28 years back, the word sustainability was like a cliche, as I said. Like everybody was using, sustainable business and all, but that time the sustainability was essentially about, being able to kind of survive or being able to kind of, continue. But that phase has stopped now. And basically now, we will be talking about it. The sustainability essentially talks about, environmental, social and governance, related issues, which basically the investors have been of late focusing, not for the sake of, being fancied about it. Actually, they found that this is a very good avenue to diversify their risks. So far, they've been investing, certain kind of instruments and these, certain kind of markets or asset class. But this asset class is subjected to systemic risk. Systemic risk means a risk that affects the system, like a stock exchange collapse is a systemic risk. But what they have found is the ESG sector, which is basically quite different from the systemic, asset class, is bit resilient to this. This is something, in fact, all of us have seen that in this pandemic, there are certain sectors that have been doing well: healthcare, food and ag, and so on and so forth. So the ESG has kind of gained importance primarily from the point of view of diversification, risk diversification. So the emphasis currently, as I said, is environmental, which is about planet; social, it's about people; and economic/governance, which is about the profits. So to mention briefly about the statistics, what is the size of the market we are talking globally? So this was initially, there was a push in 2006. The sustainability kind of the whole concept was, though people know, but they were a bit hesitant. There was a push by the UN, basically under the the Principles for Responsible Investment Program, and around 63 investors basically kind of signed with 6.5 trillion kind of assets under management. These were the kind of people who came during that time. Currently, I'm talking about 2018, just 3 years before. Half of the global investments across the world apparently touching about basically evaluating ESG, considering the investment strategy for the reasons that I mentioned above. Okay, even in India, the ESG investment is fast catching, though it is not as fast as the global. But the mainstream funds, even SBA Magnum, there are funds like essentially ESG focused fund that are being launched. So the market size as of very recently, this is, I collected it from the Hindu, is about 9,900 crores. If I don't know what is the dollar equivalent, if you can do the math, I think you'll figure it out. Essentially, what I'm saying is this is kind of growing very fast. So this basically talks about the size of the market. Now, sustainability investing, what essentially, there are various ways, but I thought these are the 4 broad areas, broad counters that basically touch upon sustainability investing or ESG investing. These are all basically interchangeably used, impact investing and all, with a slight bit of change. So they basically use a negative or exclusion list. So that means if somebody is doing something, a company is doing something, if it's basically falling into some area, then it will not be considered, like tobacco or gutka manufacturing or liquor manufacturing, liquor making. These are the things basically. So it is a negative way of approaching. The other one is a positive one. Basically, companies who have been doing quite well on ESG. So this basically, it's a positive way of looking at it. You look at their processes, I'll come to your question, like if it is a startup, then what will we have to do? I'm just talking here about the sustainability investing concept. We'll come to that later. So they will evaluate, their processes, governance, and so on and so forth, and then they take a decision. And there are theme-based investing, and most of us, basically, most of you would fall into this category, because at a startup level, most of us will be kind of on a theme-based. It could be, some innovation in food, some innovation in, input level, or some innovations at health, affordable healthcare level, and so on and so forth. There are many companies, including, AgNext is a theme-based that Dr. Sivaramane has mentioned, is clearly fall into this category. And there are companies basically who have integrated ESG into this model. So they are like companies who have been more kind of ongoing companies, large companies, who started recognizing the need for integrating ESG, and they've integrated into their processes. They became more conscious about people and and planet other than profits. Any questions so far? Just kind of maybe you park it. We will discuss it later. Now, what investors like, maybe as we look at. So this is important, and this is also related to my earlier speaker. What he said is that it's a strong articulation of the mission statement. So if you are a startup, at the initial level, you should have a visibility or a vision of what you're planning to do, and what it translates in terms of affecting either lives of people or affecting basically the planet in a positive way. Okay, of course, profits are anyway are there, but so you basically you have to articulate the mission statement, and from the mission, of course, your long-term to medium-term strategy would be derived. And then from there, the goals, your short-term goals, basically the deliverables for the organization. So this articulation is extremely important. It cannot be left very vague. Then this second point, what I wanted to say, it looks a bit vague here, is that these mission statements as goals need to be checked, whether these are addressing some pain points or enhancing customers' fulfillment, or they are just kind of, our fancies. You are like, Dr. Sivaramane, when he was mentioning about big, he said that, they will not accept, simple applications. The reason is, people, I am fond of, let's say, developing one application, but I don't know whether its applicability in the real. So so those things will not work. So your solution or your product should basically touch lives of people or enhance the fulfillment or kind of help, the planet to better. Then the capability and intent of the management in executing these goals. So this is a very big, one single bullet point. It has motivation, intent, everything. Partly also my earlier speaker had covered, but this is a very, very important thing. So in a startup, this is what is essentially is going to be measured, because there is no track record, existing track record. This is going to be measured and very keenly looked upon. And the last important is the respect for compliance. What essentially it means is that most of the startup, entrepreneurs, they don't know, things like filing tax returns, or, basically compliance in terms of GST, ESI, employee state insurance, whatever relevant regulations. They are just kind of so engulfed in their own plan, they miss these things, and the regulator will catch up. And sometimes it so happens that, the regulator could kind of ask them to stop their businesses. So these are the four basic, things that, the investors would look at. And the last point, what I'd say is just doing good is not enough. I mean, just doing well or doing good is not enough. In the sense, doing good is, it's like you are doing something very socially relevant. That's not enough. Or if you are doing something extremely profitable, that is not enough. You have to be basically touch upon the three aspects. Of course, in some startups, you don't have maybe the relevance in terms of environmental sustainability. For example, I'm not sure, but let's say somebody developed a financial technology product. It doesn't have maybe to do with environmental this directly. Maybe he should not be funding somebody who is into chopping the woods or something, but in those cases, at least he should be talking about the people and the profitability. So essentially, that kind of confluence is what is going to be considered by the investors. Now, how do you once you have done that, how do you identify your investors, and where do you think the ESG investors are focused? Basically, it starts first of all when you have defined your investment terms. You will say that, this is again the point which my earlier speaker had said, that, at what stage you are in. That depends again, it kind of, filters down the kind of investors they would look at. So basically, startup investors would be kind of quite different than the matured or mid-sized investor, or the growth oriented investor, because startup, irrespective of the sector, has its own risks. The startup investors will have a different risk taking ability, and this basically, some of the bullets are bit out of place in this. Apologies for that. Identifying ESG focused investors, basically the third bullet point what I wanted to say is that when you look for these investors, that the pitch you prepare, or the pitch deck, it should have an impact performance measurement in whatever kacha fashion, rough fashion, it may be. But it should talk about, let's say, if you are doing a business, then at the end of a specific period, maybe a year, or it may not be in the initial 1-2 years, but once you are basically matured and stable, you should be basically able to measure your performance even using proxy measurements. And more importantly, this also like how you have to cultivate relationships in the investors network. You will not get, generally in the pitch sessions, a very long time to really talk about your product. So the network, cultivating relationships, there you will always kind of float your idea. And if I know your idea, then when I meet you in a pitch session, I would have already known and formed an opinion about you. So cultivating, these relationships is extremely important. So these are some of the blue highlighted, texts are some of the, websites or databases where you can identify the global investors network, as well as, the one basically at the bottom one, the Indian ESG investors. So Caspian is one such investor. And in fact, we are setting up a new fund, which is exclusively for startups. So somebody who just come out of, let us say, idea incubation, we would be very happy to look at it. So I would stop here because I know it's a bit of overload, one after the other, and then would be very happy to take your questions.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Indeed, in a very crisp way, you have given a very exhaustive topic. And the compilation, I think we can release a handbook for startups. So it was very exhaustive and covering all aspects, and very fruitful, sir. Thank you very much. And
thank you, sir.
Now we will open the session for question and answers. Monia, you can read the questions which is already posted by participants. Later, if anybody is interested, you can switch on your camera and then you can talk. You can unmute and talk.
Syed Nabi is asking, priorities are on environment sustainability more than just economic sustainability.
That's correct.
Can you just elaborate the question? Sir. If you can unmute and speak.
Mr. Yes, thank you. Can you hear me? Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for this wonderful session. It was worth listening, and I should be able to take the inputs from here. Basically, I'm working on plantation projects, and the plantation projects are related to environmental protections or environmental management. Now, the bridging factor between the plantation and the environment protection is an IT involvement. So how do I go about integrating all this so that it becomes a total product? Because they are different domains, and I want to integrate some of them, because I don't have all the expertise, because I have the expertise in the plantation and the farming community management, but I don't have the expertise in the information technology area, because which is essential to do any viable environmental management projects.
So I believe this question is for me.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, see, first of all, you alone cannot solve the problem. Definitely you have to hire somebody with the background of an IT, or for that matter, financial services, or, expertise, somebody like a head of finance or something. There cannot be a compromise between one or the other. It's like, in a flight, they would advise you to first put oxygen and then yourself, and then kind of help others. So first you have to be kind of, sustainable financially, while, environment is also equally important given the sensitivity of the subject you are involved in. So yeah, I mean, it's like you need to hire people and then kind of focus on that. I don't know whether that satisfies your question.
Can I add Ravi here? With the Caspian supported company, I can give an example to them, so that GPS is our favorite always. So when Caspian asked me about GPS way back in 2017, probably around that time. So I think, why I'm telling this, even the biogas production from kitchen waste, okay? So even the founders like Mayank and all from IIM background, management background, but they have the technology people in the place. And in case if you'd like to integrate any IoT sensors, for example, 10 kilos of kitchen waste can be converted into a few liters of biogas, for example, that can be sensed by any IoT sensors that can be reading in your mobile, whether it's a Green Park or any other hotels. If you would like to understand maybe 10 hotels or 100 hotels, if you put your plants out there, integrate the technology, bring in those competent team members so that this can be sorted out, right? So the point here I'm telling, I just want to hint all of you that, Caspian being so crucial to support such kind of solutions, not only nationally, but globally. So GPS now gone global. I mean, about three years before. So question asked by Syed, I think you need to bring in such kind of competent team members, reliable and committed team members who can actually bring value to your technology. So that way you can actually bring in multi-domain experts so that you can have a strength not only in your team, but also into your technology so that you can attract some kind of investors. Is that clear now?
Thank you, sir. Thank you. This gives enough confidence now. I'm just thinking on this line.
We help build build teams actually, like NAMS,
Yes.
AIC, CCMB. We actually connect the dots. So please reach out to us anytime. Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Shall we take the next question? So someone has asked, can we, undergraduate agriculture student, 4th year, can we apply for this? Ramji, can you take it up?
Yeah, I can. Yeah. So yes, of course. And the BTech students actually, like Manu Sai, the prosthetic hand guy is 4th year student who applied immediately. I mean, only thing is that in case if they could not able to complete, they're not having the degree in their hand, the faculty member can be the PI. And once they are forming the company, by the time they get the award, I think the graduation will be done. So I think you will be out of those hurdles or compliances. Yeah.
Yeah. So I would like to add a few points. Technically, students are eligible to apply, but sometimes what happens in BSc, you may not be very sure about how they would take up the idea for commercial success. So some amount of experience will add in that process. That will be very good. Yeah. So you can work on that, like Sparks Fellowship and all, you can work on that. And then once you get experience, then you can apply for such big projects. So,
Yes,
yeah.
yes. And yeah, are you, I mean, I can see some questions. Is proprietorship is an eligible thing. So proprietorship is almost like an individual applicant, by the way. So you guys need to form a private limited or LLP once you get the grant. Okay. So I think Gaurav, you would like to add any eligibility related questions here?
Is proprietorship? Yes, LLP, they are eligible. Yes.
No,
You can apply as a company. Yes.
yeah, I mean, some of them are having only state-related recognitions, not in the MCA-based forms. Okay, so proprietorships actually not. They can be considered as an individual at the moment, but once you are funded with a big grant sanction, means what I mean to say, you can form a company out there, either an LLP or private limited company, or even OPC, one-person company. So yeah, that's what the answer.
So there is one question by from Mustafa. It's basically said that most of the slides that they talk about teams. So the team here we are considering is it the founding team or the mid-management team, in case we wish to be an individual business owner or 2-3 founders. See, when as a startup, you know, it's basic. What matters is the founding team, because the mid-management comes later. It's the founding team and the track record of the founding team. I mean, like somebody, when I say track record here, I am talking from Caspian side, not from, you know, absolutely kind of, you know, startup level. You know, not at the stage where, you know, you'll be joining AIDEA. So this is post AIDEA level. So the track record of the promoter and, you know, their background and their ability. So there would be a lot of emphasis would be on the team, because there is nothing else. The business plan is just an Excel. So yes, that's right.
Thank you, sir.
I mean, advisors is also considered as, so core team, I mean, the founding team and the technological team or whatever, then the advisors. So for the application per se, I'm just trying to add here is that please try to have sufficient enough advisors, 2 or 3 advisors, at least 2 to 3 team members, including founders. I think that's very important for the application part, of course, company or whatever, because if you are having different backgrounds and the projections or propositions are on some particular technology, you need a kind of guidance by industrial experts, regulatory experts, and at the same time marketing or BD kind of experts, or even total scientific expertise, maybe in a senior level. I think try to have some 2 to 3 advisors also to be considered as your team. Yeah.
When advisors, do you mean mentors?
Yeah, so there is a kind of thin hairline differentiation, but a slash probably. How investors will look into the probably Ravi can tell, but advisors and mentors in the sense, you know, the advisors I consider, you know, who are actually sitting with you, okay, may not be sitting with you for longer hours or continuously engaging with you, but you know, the mentors may be sitting with you as and when you know, when you have some problem or something. So I think I may be telling in a reverse way, but Ravi, please correct me. Otherwise, how the mentors and advisors play, I think that's very crucial. I can tell you, when someone is actually not so much of, you know, expecting in a monetary way or maybe kind of demanding way, trying to actually build the product, help building the product, or maybe connecting the dots, etc., on maybe weekly basis or monthly basis. At least he is with you for about 2 to 3 years of your product development or a startup journey. I think those are actually maybe advisors, I say, but mentors maybe as and when come and they may be guiding you or whichever the way. I think, Ravi, maybe you can, in your
sure.
terms, maybe how the startups are coming with their mentoring team or advisory team. Yeah.
Right. So the advisors / mentors, their role is not essentially to get investment. Their role is to strengthen these guys. So basically, they come much before, when we look at this. But a strong advisory team / mentors team would also require a reciprocating, the management team. So it's a combination. Yes, I agree. And more importantly, it also kind of tells these guys about how to manage things. Because as a company, it requires, like, even when AIDEA invests, they would put somebody on the board or some, so the board management, governance, financial, discipline, these things will basically come into the picture. And naturally, as a young entrepreneur, one might not be aware of all these things. So yes, you are absolutely right. That the role of advisors / mentors is kind of cannot be underestimated.
Great.
So one more question is there. I have developed a small prototype which helps to grow larger trees like mangoes and papaya. How do I apply for patent or design rights on rooftops? Yeah. So Mr. Sai Hemant, you can unmute and you can speak.
Hello, sir. My name is Sai Hemant. Am I audible?
Yes, yes. Please go ahead.
Yes, sir. I'm a final year student. I am studying in Dr. YSR Horticulture University. From past 1.5 years, I've been researching on this. Okay. The idea is very simple, sir. I want to develop. And grow fruit crops on the rooftops. Actually, we have developed a small prototype which enables to grow on the rooftop. It does not require any kind of roots or hello.
Yeah, please go ahead. Yes, yes, we could hear you.
Yeah. That could be also shifted. Okay. That could be also shifted from a primary customer to secondary customer, and we don't need to amputate or cut off the trees. Okay. That is the idea of we want to build future farms in such a way that to convert our urban land into agriculture based. Thank you, sir. That's my idea.
No, what is that? You have written something about patent. What is your question on patent?
I have developed a small prototype, sir. Can I apply for a patent, and what is the procedure? I don't have any guidance regarding this. Okay.
Yeah, maybe I think, offline Gaurav can help you, maybe idea team to
Yes, sir.
connect to the patent agent people. But however, I think growing plants is very different, starting from the tissue culture kind of business models to, biofertilizers, or maybe how you are augmenting them or growing them. So what is the product? Maybe I think you can tell in detail to them or to me. Probably we can guide you, not a problem. Yeah, offline.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, sir. With pictures and presentations, I would love to present that idea.
Great. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Is there any more questions? Right, then thank you very much. Monia?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so you can propose vote of thanks. Yeah.
Yes, sir. On behalf of AIDEA, I would like to express my gratitude to to us today's speakers, Dr. Ramji Palela and Ravi Narsimham sir, for taking out time and enlightening us with knowledge. This session is surely going to be helpful to all the participants. I thank all the participants and people who have joined us today. You may visit to our website, AIDEA, for the latest updates on various programs that we are launching. And not to forget about this BIG 19th call, the applications are closing on 15th of September. So hurry up. You can call us on the numbers that are displaying in this slide. You can call me. My name is Monia, Ms. Akhila, and Dr. Gaurav. We are taking care of BIRAC BIG from AIDEA. You can also contact our CEO, who is Dr. N. Sivaramane, over this number. And you can email us. You can write us on this email address that is there on the slide. So thank you one and all for joining us today. It was definitely helpful to everyone.
Thank you very much, and great meeting you, Ravi. Here, maybe.
Yeah, thank you, Ravi and Ramji sir. Thank you very much for joining the show today.
Great.
Thank
Sivaram,
you,
sir.
Dr.
Yeah.
Shivaramane and Ramji, and wishing good luck to all the the participants in their endeavors. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. All the best for you. Thank you. Thank you.
Take
Bye.
care, all of you. All the best. Thanks. Bye.